So the conversation today is on spiritual mind treatment. And it's come to me because I actually thought about having a conversation on, how to get yourself out of a slump. And ultimately I think it's about spiritual mind treatment. So I thought that would be a better topic. And the reason I came to that original one is because I feel like I'm in a slump. And I'm trying to be more conscious and more aware of, be more self-aware and trying to, really feel something, identify it, name it, and then figure out what to do about it. And so, in this instance, I don't think I'm naming it. I can't describe it to name it, but I know that I'm feeling kind of blue.
Hmm.
And for, I mean, like, well, I'll explain in a minute, what things are happening, but for real, a couple things are happening, but, not enough to really put me in that slump. So anyway, we're going to talk about spiritual mind treatment. Welcome to New Answers Podcast, Nurturing Spirituality. I'm Gwendolyn Flynn, and I am joined by my partner here, Tiffany Lee, who, as I have been describing her, is our resident licensed spiritual practitioner in training. So she is undergoing training and taking classes and, becoming the scholar that is contributing her insights that she's gaining from these classes into our spiritual growth together. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Gwen.
So, and I want to talk about it because I don't think I think what I'm experiencing may not be, maybe something that other people are experiencing too, and can learn from my experience or have some relation or identify with it. Um, so just let me tell you what's going. I mean, a, a couple of things that have been, well, I guess on the negative side, I'm having some trouble, continue to have trouble with plumbing in my house
Hmm.
and how expensive that can be. And, you know, uh, reached out to my insurance and they declined to help with the expense. So there was that going on. Um, what else is happening? Oh, I guess I developed, it's a stupid little thing, an eye infection. I don't know where it came from. Usually it's you get it from a little kid, and I haven't been around little kids in a while. So, I mean, and so those are a couple of little things that have been kind of wearing on my psyche, I suppose. But other than that, I mean, I'm grateful for getting up in the morning, and I always give myself an opportunity to recognize the things that I am grateful for. And usually I do that, and then I do my affirmations, and then I am up and well on my way. Lately, that hasn't helped. So I think I'm needing something else.
Yeah.
And so that's why I came to this topic of spiritual mind treatment. And maybe for those who are the uninitiated in this, spiritual development, maybe we can start by kind of defining what that is and what do we mean by spiritual mind treatment. And so I call on you, the scholar here, to help us with that, Tiffany.
Oh gosh. So since I'm in the middle of moving and I've been really busy, I'm gonna just explain spiritual mind treatment in not a scholarly way. but but
Okay.
spiritual mind treatment is the affirmative prayer that Ernest Holmes basically formalized to, for us to pray to the universe for action. And it's a 5 step prayer. It's a 5 step. And first, so it's called a spiritual mind treatment because we have many beliefs and we have our ego and our feelings and what we've been taught from the world, from our parents or different other religions, have helped created those beliefs in our mind. And because what we do know is our thoughts that come from our mind create our reality,
Yeah.
we're constantly creating. It's called a spiritual mind treatment because we are spirit. Everyone is spirit, and we have a mind. And we
Right.
have to treat our mind to change beliefs that are not true to beliefs that are true. So when you say a prayer, you got to, it's to be conscious of what comes out of our mouth. And so that's why it's an affirmative, structured prayer so that we are praying and speaking and believing the correct, the truth. So
Yeah.
that as soon as we say it, the universe says yes and it starts working. You know what I mean? So we
Yep.
look around and the circumstances that we're in, you know, what of it have we caused? And some stuff isn't what we caused. I mean, some stuff is plumbing issues happen. You know, the
Yeah. Right.
here comes Errol. He's missed being on the show.
I know. I was going to ask you about Arrow and do a
Oh,
little catching up because I know you, like you said, you're in the middle of packing up because you're moving.
right. He just knocked over a cup of ice. Thank you, Errol.
And I'm wondering if
Oh my
Arrow's
God.
coming with you.
Are you coming? Yes, of course he's coming. Are you
Oh,
coming on
good.
the show? Come
Hi, Arrow. We missed you.
here. Okay, so just want to reiterate this to make sure everyone's following. Um, we're all spiritual beings, and that's, you know, that's the first thing you have to acknowledge. And we have a mind. Those are the obvious things. We all know we have a mind. We also know that we've been taught things. And what we're learning through science of mind and many spiritual paths, everyone's awakening to this, is that we've learned non truths. And the non truths of, and it's in our mind, and it's coming out of us not knowing who we are, not understanding that our biggest part of us is our spirit, because we are spirit, we are God. In fact, when people say, "Oh, I'm learning spirituality or I'm developing my spiritual journey," you know, I say, "No, you're not. You are spirit. Spirit's already perfect in you. You are learning to manage your ego." Because what has happened
Ah,
in culture is
yeah,
our ego has overtaken our spirit in this world. So what we need to do is
yeah,
allow our spirit to be and experience the world without ego overtaking it. We need ego to interact, to be in this world, but we don't want to follow ego. Ego is not where we want to be under the the control of the ego. We want to be under the control of the heart, the spirit. So spiritual mind treatments are to speak truth for, and so to speak it we have to believe it, and that's why it's a formula.
mm,
Is that easy to follow?
that is.
Okay,
And that was a great, yeah, that was a great explanation for it.
thank you.
And so even, I who have been kind of immersing myself into this has to
Hmm.
be reminded of it occasionally.
Right.
I have to be reminded of it because I think I just forgot about it or it just kind of goes out of your head because you're dealing with these
Things.
earthly things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So
And
when
so,
we're in the world and things are happening, we remember that we always can look at it in different ways. And the other thing that we know from science of mind is we have different levels of consciousness. We've
hmm
been mostly trained to be in the to me consciousness. So when things happen, we're like, why is this happening to me? Isn't
yeah,
that how we're raised? Why is
that,
this happening to
that,
me?
yeah. And that's where I went with this plumbing stuff,
Hmm.
you know. Mm.
Right. So we want to raise you from to me to for me, at least. Why is this happening for me? What is this teaching me? Because everything happens for you.
Yes.
Um, whether it's we understand it or not. There's elements of my life that happened for me, like my living situation, my brother, and all that kind of stuff. Um, and I've been able to transmute it in my practitionership so that this part of my life is just blossomed like a rose. You know, it's like it's just changing and
Yes.
turning out so well.
Yeah.
Um, that trauma, that my brother's role in this, and if you believe, like a lot of spiritual teachers talk about how we choose our life while we're up in heaven, and we have these agreements with these souls to play different roles, including catalysts people. So let's just say my
Mhm.
brother and I, um, he is a soul that we've done many lifetimes together. And up in before we came down here, he decided to play the role of a brother that was jealous of me, or just for some reason has never liked me, and gets to a point where he just really becomes angry with me, and that has pushed me into my spiritual journey. And
Mm.
from a higher vision, from a God's eye view of the souls, that's what it looks like. But being in it, if I'm in my lowest consciousness, and I'm like, why is he doing this to me? Why is he being so evil? Why, you know what I mean? And I could have stayed in that. I could have stayed in that. And then if I stayed in that, everything wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have written my book. I wouldn't be going through practitioner school. Instead, I was like, I'm not going to, it pushed me into running to look for um, uh, my peace, my joy, something, because I didn't want to be around them. And that, and doing that. So in the learning, it just all worked out. It basically catalyzed me into the depth of my change in my spiritual journey
Mm.
and where I am now. So
Yeah.
he's still a jerk. Let me just tell you, he still does things that people are like, I can't believe he does that. Like he disconnected my air conditioning. We're in the middle of a heat wave. And I was like, my air is broken. And I was just miserable all week. My room was like 90 degrees. And I was praying about it. And I got a picture in my head. And I was like, so I went to the electrical box, and was like, yeah, my air conditioner's turned off. Like, who does that? That's
Oh,
so,
geez. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
but
incredible.
yeah. But I'm moving this weekend, and it's definitely put fire under my bed. My air's on now, but I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Because so I think previously we talked about how your life is changing. You mentioned the publishing of your book, the book of poems, and we talked about that, and you read a couple of poems. You talked about your desire to change your living situation and how that all came about, connected to your employment situation. So it was all about, changing your mindset, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know if you did your own spiritual mind treatment or
I do.
what to help. You do?
I do.
Okay.
It's more effective if you do it yourself, because if you do it for yourself,
Hmm.
because you know how you think. So when you're thinking and you're like, yes, okay, so as you're going through the steps and you have to think about it yourself, then you're changing your mindset at that time.
Mm.
So for instance, I'll do one for you. Um, but I can't know as deep as you know yourself where your mind is, and if you're believing everything I
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, that was our last class that we took, is the class of a mystic. And we had to do my last two classes, we had to do spiritual mind treatments for our partners and
Oh, you
ourselves
did.
every day.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so um it's I can definitely see the change in my life from
Yeah.
doing these. And then the more you do them and the more you see the change, the more your belief and understanding and in the truth of it. So then things start happening even faster.
Faster
Because
than
we
that.
are always manifesting. And
Yeah.
gosh, what was that saying? Be careful what you say becomes really, really real.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You realize that what you say, what you thought. Remember, Jesus says that it doesn't matter, or the Bible says, it doesn't matter if you do it or think it, it's the same.
Oh, right. Right.
And it didn't make sense until you fully understand that we are spirit creating at all times, and everything we say, God
Mm.
spoke uh, the world into creation from his words, in his
Mm.
imagination, not his image of what he looked like, but in his image, as in imagination, he created the world.
Yeah.
Everything, us, the earth, the other planets, the other aliens, comes from
Mm,
God's imagination. And
hmm.
because we are expressions of Him, everything that we do from our imagination, and our imagination is not always good. We imagine horrible things that are going to happen to us. And then we're
Yeah.
like, see, it happened. Well, yeah, because we created it.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. And so on a level, there's a level that I understand and know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yet when, my plumbing breaks down or whatever, then I go right to, I guess, I don't know, it's ego gets in the way or whatever, but I go right to, why is this happening to me? You know?
And the why is not always bad. Just know where to look. Because I don't know
Mhm.
if you know, we entered Mercury went retrograde again 2 weeks ago. And this one,
Oh, I
mhm,
didn't know that. Although I should have because, stuff
we're
was
like,
happening. Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And yeah, and it's everyone I've talked to said, woo, this retrograde is hard. My car's been breaking down.
Mm.
So me trying to move. I had to order a part from Amazon. It should have been here days ago, so I could have gotten it fixed. It just arrived, and I'm not there. I had it delivered to my job, but we had to go through all this to get it. I mean, it's Mercury is messing with people. Another girlfriend, her car broke down. She's like, they're telling
Hmm.
me $7,000 to fix her car. I mean, we're like, Mercury's kicking our butt this year, but there's a
Oh,
purpose for it too. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And we have to look into that. It's, God source didn't create anything to be negative. So
Hmm.
what is it teaching us? And we have to think of it. What is it
Hmm.
doing for us? What really, you know, maybe it
Hmm.
was the fact that I should have been getting more tune-ups with my car. I know that. And this
Hmm.
is teaching me a heck of a lesson. And same with her. She put off a long time getting certain things fixed. Now your plumbing's not your fault. You do live in a condo
A
and you
condo.
have you have you have a stack.
Hmm.
So your plumbing, me managing apartments, I would know that if anyone in the stack having plumbing problems,
Hmm.
we have to check all this the whole stack.
The whole stack.
The
Yeah.
whole stack, yeah.
Yeah.
When you own, it's like you don't have that ability to just be like, hey, my toilet's having problems, or I'm having plumbing problems here. I
Yeah.
need to see what's happening up there coming down on top of you.
Right. Right. Now I say it was plumbing, but it's the AC, it's the air conditioning. And and
Oh.
and what happened was but still it's a stacked thing. So um but I didn't understand that until like a week ago about or whatever it was. When I learned from the uh president of the HOA who's been here forever,
Mm-hmm.
probably since the building was built, that the condensation line, what happened was the condensation line got plugged. I still don't understand how a condensation line gets plugged, and that line is shared by me and the upstairs owner.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I've been here since 2009. That's the first time that that's happened. But I didn't know. No one's, when I moved in, no one said that, I know that some of the plumbing is shared, right? Um, but I didn't understand how the AC worked and that there was a condensation line and that we were sharing it because I knew I don't use my AC that often. So now I know, okay, so it was plugged because the upstairs owner is using it and somehow it gets plugged. I don't know what causes a condensation line to plug, but it was plugged up and the drippings of it is what I was experiencing like all through my carpet. I
Oh.
mean, it was incredible. Yeah, yeah. And it's still my insurance, which they make you get, when you buy a place, they didn't cover it
Mm.
because they said it was a maintenance issue. Anyway, so now I'm trying to figure out, okay, so now with this mind treatment for myself, but maybe you can help me with this. I'm trying to say, okay, so what is the lesson I'm supposed to get from this? This is happening because I have to, there's something I need to learn from it.
It could
Um,
be as simple as the fact that ACs need maintenance once a year.
Yes, it probably is that.
This
Yes,
is my car
yes.
breaking down is like, yeah, I have to stop ignoring the fact that cars need maintenance. I hate maintenance. We just
Yeah.
do the things we don't want to do, you know.
Right, right, right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it could be as simple as that.
Yeah. But the worry over that, okay, so but the emotion and the worry from that isn't from the fact that you have this incident that happened, and it's probably more like now there's that money I have to spend. And where's
Well,
that
oh
going to
yeah,
come
for
from?
sure.
Right.
For sure.
So so
Yeah.
that's where the treatment would go to is reversing the lack. The fact that so
Mhm,
the worry over money comes from lack, and lack comes from not realizing that we're naturally abundant, that we're in the midst of abundance always,
mhm,
and that source is always there for us, and we never have to worry about money. You know, if we say it'll be, and we truly believe that the money will come, that it will be taken care of however source wants to take care of it, and we're
mhm.
open to it coming multiple ways, however way, you never know. Like miracles are
Ah,
just source saying this is how we're going to do this, because
yeah,
we get in our head one way. We need to have money in the bank to do this, but that's not the only way things happen.
yeah.
So that's one way. We look at the bank account and be like, oh, it's going to drain it, or I don't have the money. And then what you're saying is, I don't have the money. And source is like, okay, you don't have the money. But that's
Uh,
we want to reverse in the spiritual
that's
mind
what you have to
treatment.
reverse. Yeah, yeah. So the other thing I want to say is when you hear the term spiritual mind treatment, for those who may be new to this and or the uninitiated, in this iteration of non-traditional Christianity, they may hear that as brainwashing. And we're not talking about brainwashing. We're talking about changing our perspective, basically, right? And how we're seeing things. Because yeah, you're right. That's exactly where I went. I mean, because I reached out to my insurance company and they declined me. Now I'm thinking, okay, so now it's on me, so money is a factor. That's exactly
Right.
what I was thinking about.
Right. Well, it's on you, but who are you?
So I am the universe. I am the divine spirit, and abundance is mine, right?
Hmm.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So would in some ways we say we're God, we're expressions of God. Would
Ex
God have a problem? Like, what would God do?
right.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's what I have to do. So ego's in the way, and I gotta release that. I gotta get that out of the way, and just surrender to my God self,
Hmm. And with
basically.
God's self, we also have the God mind,
Yes.
and we get ego out of the way. Then we realign with the God mind, so that the solution will come.
So that a solution will come, and to not be a barrier, like I say, get that
Exactly.
ego away, because that's what causes the separation, the barrier there.
Hmm.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. I mean, this is and this stuff, I mean, it works. I know it works when when you have that deep-seated belief, you're an example of that. About things have changed, the universe has moved and shifted things around in such a way that all of your needs are being met.
In such a wild way.
Hmm.
Yeah, change your thinking, change your life. That was Ernest Holmes,
That's
and
right.
this is
Change
what
your
we're doing. We're
thinking,
changing our thinking. Yeah.
change your life.
Hmm.
That's exactly the tag, connected with this. And that's what spiritual mind treatment is about. Oh,
Right.
love it, love it, love it.
Yeah. So we can do one, but let me pull up the steps real quick so I can explain it.
And it's so interesting that you said that in your last couple of classes, this is what you've been dealing with, the spiritual mind treatment.
Well, yeah, it's really the basis of prayer. I mean, every
Mm.
faith is based around their prayer, their communication with source, with God, whatever you want to call.
Yeah.
God. I like to, when in a spiritual mind treatment, I like to take my mind to the highest level of creator. So I don't use God because to me, God is minimal. I feel like people
Mm,
have minimized God, the word
yeah.
God. So I call him prime, and even saying him is minimal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
It's
not
kind of neat.
created in the image of God. We
Mm-hmm.
are created in the imagination. So I call source the prime creator because
Mm,
in a sense we're all gods because we're all creating.
yeah.
I mean, and or the term Lord, I mean, when that was first used, they were talking about their kings or whoever you worshiped, you called a Lord. So um, we have levels of people that we worship. Some people worship our president, or like our musicians, or actors, they're
That's true.
priests, they're pastors, and those are their lords.
Yeah.
So, and it's okay. I mean, don't worship people, but whatever your choice, but I like to go to the prime creator and remember who I am. And that's what spiritual mind treatment is. The
Mm,
first step is acknowledging God, source, whatever. So it's, hold on. I just want to make sure I do a good one for you. Because I don't even, honestly, um, I don't even do it full out, which I'm going to do now. That's why. Because I've gotten into the consciousness of God and abundance and of realizing who I am that I kind of check myself when I slip and get into the me mode. I check myself immediately.
oh,
Like
oh, you do.
one
Okay.
example they talk about is when we're looking for abundance, it's like a fish looking for water. You're in it. So picture you as
I
like
like that.
the fish
Yeah.
in water. Like when we're like, so therefore we have no lack. It's like a fish saying like, I need some water. That's
Yeah.
lack. That's the lack of truth. Where it's for us, we can say, I don't have, but we have. We have so much abundance around us. So know that we have abundance and then be in that feeling of
Mm,
abundance and
mm,
whatever our needs are at
yeah.
the moment, it's right there in front of us. We can't see it. But when we realize it's there and we relax into it, then it
Yeah.
then appears for you to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you decide like, oh, I want a new red car of some sort, and then all of a sudden you see it all the time, like
Yes.
that,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
you know. So what are you going to see? Are you going to see your lack, or are you going to see your abundance?
Yeah. I'm gonna see the abundance.
You're going to see the
I'm
abundance.
gonna
That's
choose to see the abundance. Yes.
right.
Hmm.
So
I like that. Like a fish who's looking for water, because that's exactly what it is, what it feels
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know? So that'll keep, I'll keep that in mind. But it's interesting to say that sometimes you slip too,
Oh,
even though you're
oh, for
immersed
sure.
in this with, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Even
you're
if someone,
human. Of course you're gonna slip, but
yeah, exactly. We're human and we have all these things. So of course we're going to
hmm.
slip. Yeah.
Hmm.
We're like, oh, I think I don't slip as much into like I'll have
Right.
something will happen and I'll be like, you can acknowledge it doesn't feel good. I'll be like, this does not feel good. Why is this happening? Or what am I supposed to learn from this?
Hmm.
And then just even saying, what am I supposed to learn from this for me now gets is kind of exciting.
Is it?
'Cause, yeah, it is. It is because I
Oh,
can track my growth once I started
yeah,
looking at things that way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that's exactly what it is. That here's an opportunity for you to grow.
Hmm.
And so that's why it becomes exciting because, oh, here's another level of growth for me. Yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden it dissolves, it solves itself, and you get the reward for that growth. That's just kind of
Mhm.
like the way it works. So it's like something negative happens, I was like, ooh, what do I get? What am I going to get from this lesson?
Yes, yes, yes. I like that. I like that perspective, that approach too. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
So
so
you said that there are like 5 steps to this. Are you gonna give me a spiritual mind treatment?
yeah, I will. And I'll just say the 5 steps real quick, if, in case anyone wants to follow. The first step is recognition, and it's recognizing spirit or who source or Godhead is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the second step is unification, and that's recognizing who you are in unification with God or source.
Okay. I'm looking for a pencil to write this down, but I can't find one. Okay, go ahead.
Well, it's being recorded.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can play it back. Yes.
Yeah, and you can actually Google it. It will come up. The steps of spiritual mind treatment. The
Mm,
third step is realization. Um, and that's the ask. That's the part in the ask. Um, that's all I'll say about that right now. And then giving is the fourth step. And then release. You release it to
mm,
the universe.
hmm. Did you say giving is the fourth step?
Thanksgiving,
Oh,
thankfulness.
Thanksgiving. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I want to, and it's funny because when I do it for myself, I don't necessarily go through all the steps like I mentioned, because all I have to do in my head is kind of go, okay, I remember who God is. I remember who I am. And I'm going to realize that everything's going to be fine. Or what do I want in my realization? Okay, I'll give you an example
Okay.
with my work, with my situations. I was knew I was up for this promotion. And I was like, do I really want the promotion? Because
Mhm.
um, there's all the good that comes with the promotion. But when I see people in that position, they're miserable. Like the managers, when you go to an apartment, you see like
Oh,
the leasing agency, all these people, and the manager in back is miserable doing paperwork. You have to deal with the owners wanting, and it's just a role I actually have never wanted before. But
yeah.
um but I felt that this, I've already gone through so many steps of spiritual mind treatments and prayers to get to this point with this company. And so far it was good. But then when they're like, okay, and it's been what, less than 8 months for me to start off one
Mm,
day as a temp, that then they hired on for 3 days, and then jumping all the way to manager of 3 buildings in 8 months.
in
And the
eight
whole
months.
way
That's
I have been saying exactly what I want, and then that would happen.
all that time you have been
I
because
have, but not to
because
them.
because some
Not to
people would
them at
call
all.
that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Not to them. I've never once told them what I wanted.
Okay, so this
And
was just out into the universe. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Just in my own thoughts, in my own prayers, in my own like this is what I like. Okay, so for instance, I'm up for this promotion and I'm thinking, oh, managers are always so miserable in back. I don't want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also I know that I'm a people person. I like to be around involved with the um residents, and I love like the work of managing the maintenance and construction and all that type of stuff, like being front as opposed to just being the back doing reports,
I see.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that made me a little hesitant on the job. I was like, oh, if it's that, it's not going to last with me long, you know.
Yeah.
So they were kind of they've been taking their time with giving me the actual promotion with the paperwork, the letter. And when I asked about it, because she was like, "Oh, you're going to get this apartment, you're going to get this," and I was like, "Okay, but when do I get my actual letter?" And she said, "You know what? It's held up because we're restructuring the whole system. Because
Mm.
keep in mind, I said nothing to the office, but in my head, I was like, it doesn't make sense to promote, your top leasing agent into a management position where they're not even around people. When I'm a people person, it just doesn't make sense." And I was
Yeah.
thinking that I was like, I literally said to myself one day, they need to restructure the whole system. Okay,
Oh. Yeah.
so what they told me last week was, well, we're restructuring this because we see that your talents are here, and so we're trying to put in place this new system that's never been done before. And I was
Oh
like,
my goodness.
now I'm
Yeah.
excited
Yes.
because
Yes.
they're
Yes.
like, yes, so they're hiring I mean, they're not even doing it just for me. They're going to do it for multiple. It's a really big company, multiple
Yeah.
different businesses to see how that works out.
Yeah.
To take a lot of the paperwork, the administrative stuff off the managers, so they can
Yeah.
be back in front of the residents managing, and
Yeah.
just have an off-site administrative team that's dealing with all the reports and helping us.
Yeah. Exactly. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. But you thought that.
I
You didn't
thought it.
even you didn't even
I
express it
didn't
to
even
them.
ask them. I didn't know who would do that really? Who would be like, "I'll take the position, but I need you to restructure your company to do it."
I know. Yeah. Nobody would
Yeah,
do that. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. So some people might call that a miracle, you know? But
yeah,
those are the kinds of miracles that happen if you change your thinking, right?
right.
Oh
Because
my,
it's you can call it a miracle, and you can say like, "I expect miracles every day,"
yeah.
um, but it's called a miracle because the reason why people call it a miracle is because we don't think that way. We don't
Yeah.
realize who we are. We don't realize the power we
The
have.
power we have. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, and we accidentally sometimes fall into our power, and that's when we call it a miracle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We accidentally create from
Interesting.
our power, and so we call it a miracle. But it's not.
Wow.
We can do this every day, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And everybody has access to that kind of power.
Hmm. Yes.
So
And
it's
that's
not
the
like for
power.
special people. Yeah.
Right. No, and that's the power of our mind. That's the power of
Mm-hmm.
the mind treatment to believe in the truth of who we are and how the universe works with us, for us, and always says yes. So he's always saying, so the universe is always a yes. It's always creating what we say, think, and do,
Mm-hmm.
um, whether it's considered good or bad. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and there's
Wow.
one mind source. So when I say it out, when I was saying it and I was thinking it, I was creating it. And it just
Mm-hmm.
went into that source and went down there. That's how I say it. That's in my head. It went right into source. And they had a desire too. They had a desire to have me work there.
Yeah.
And they wanted to figure out how this was going to work. So somehow it came into Robin, who is my boss's boss. She was the one that after meeting me was like, yes, but how is this going to work? Because I
Mm-hmm.
told her too in a kind of a interview, I was like, I can learn things and I can get bored. I mean, I was really open in this interview, and I was like, and afterwards, I was like, ooh, I said things that maybe some people may not have hired me for, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, you had said that you became your authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
right? You just kind of released whatever any expectations and just was your authentic self, and look what it got you.
Right. Yes. And doing all that is knowing that the universe is there for us. So therefore,
Mm-hmm.
why not be, you know, don't
Mm-hmm.
worry. In other words,
Right.
it's all the lessons. It's all we are not supposed to imitate others. We're supposed to be our most authentic self is
Mm-hmm.
what we want. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, if we think we have to be someone else to fit a position, then maybe that position's not for us.
That's not for us. Yeah, you
Yeah.
had said that you shouldn't play a role
You shouldn't play a role.
in trying
No,
to get a position.
no.
And you didn't do that. You didn't play a role. You were you. You were you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is so how inspiring is that? That's very inspiring. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So then how would you do a mind treatment on me?
Okay. So you breathe, you relax, you just relax into the knowing that there was one source, there was one prime creator, and that creator is the start of all creation, and that's realization stage. We're realizing that there was creation and there was all creation. It comes from one source that has expanded. It's always expanding. And we are part of that creation and we are an expression of that creation. I am an expression of the creation of the creator. And I so much so that I am creating. And because I know that I know that Gwen also is an expression of the creator. And she is always creating. And in this creation, She knows that she has so much access to abundance. And she knows, and I know, that abundance is here for her at all times. And all problems are not real problems. It just needs to be to help create more love, more wisdom, more faith, more miracles, as some call it. We know that we have access to the mind of the creator, and that when we quiet our mind and we walk with knowing that all is good, because there is no bad creation, all is good, and that everything happens for the good of Gwen's highest self. That when she opens her eyes after this prayer, she will see the good in everything happening. And then she will be seeing so much more good coming her way. And the plumbing problem will be solved, because it's not really a problem. It's just a situation, and the money will come, or a solution will come, and it will be so easy. It would be so easy. It's not actually a problem. It just is. That's all it is. It's just part of life. It's just part of walking on this life. It's just those issues with the mechanics of the things we use need maintenance, and the maintenance will be done, and now we know. And whether it be health issues, it's not a problem, because our bodies, our every cell in our body knows the blueprint of what it's here to do. Every cell in our body is connected to also source. In fact, it is source, and source is perfect, whole, and complete. So therefore, we are actually always whole, perfect, and complete. And sometimes even our cells in our bodies forget that, but we can remind it. We can talk to it and say, hey, you're whole, perfect, and complete. You know what to do. I give you permission to do this. And so it is done. And we thank source. We thank source, prime creator, spirit, which is ourselves. We thank spirit so much for love. We thank spirit so much for the abundance that we have, that the fact that we're in this amazing world and we have this amazing power to create our world however we desire. And we thank it. We thank it for all that we've already done that we love so much. And we thank it for the lessons that we've created, because we know sometimes to not create those lessons again. And we thank it for the adventure of this 3D world that we're living on this earth, knowing that we are always safe, we're always whole, we're always protected, knowing that it is all good. So we put these words into the universe because it takes action right now. We know that every cell in your body is now working at its fullest and best and highest blueprint. And whatever it wasn't working because of wrong thought, that thought is gone. There is no illness. There is no there is there is nothing wrong. Like the cells are all God. And now it is back to the original blueprint of its highest self, of its highest self cell. It means every organ in your body is working perfectly well. And it's starting again now. Everything's starting again now. And the solution to the pipes and anything in your living situation, those solutions, you are aligned with the mind of source. And so all the solutions will come. And we are in the midst of the waters of all creation and abundance. And it will, when you open your eyes from this prayer, everything will start showing up. The solutions, the miracles, the gifts, the abundance will start showing up. And every step you take every day when you wake up and you say, thank you, Source, for the miracles today. Thank you, Source, for the power I know I have today. We put these into the universe. And because we know it is, we say, and so it is, and amen.
And so it is. Amen. Ugh, I feel so much better. I do. And while you were issuing what I consider to be almost a prayer, this spiritual mind treatment, I was remembering that in the midst of this AC clogging, whatever, the plumber who identified the fact that there was a clogged condensation line and who unclogged it, whatever he had to do, and then sent a invoice for, I guess it amounted to over $700, almost $800 for the unclogging of that condensation line. And I remember feeling stressed about it because this is just a condensation line. This isn't even the damage that was done from the buildup of the water.
Right.
And that's a whole nother remediation bill. Anyway, I said, I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm going to put it out into the universe. And so this is how I learned that this condensation line was a shared line with the upstairs owner. The what do you call it? The insurance adjuster said that that bill to unclog the condensation line had been paid because I released it. I just said I
Right.
don't know where it's going to get come from, but I'm going to put it out into the universe and see what happens. And so that insurance adjuster said the bill had been paid. Did you pay it? And I said, no, I didn't pay it. I didn't have it to pay. So I remember that. So when I released it, when I just said, okay, I'm putting it out into the universe, the universe responded. It was the HOA that paid it.
Oh, see?
Yes, yes. So how quickly, so I
How
remembered
quickly
it
you
for,
forgot once the next problem came. And
yeah,
that's how,
exactly, exactly. Just that quickly, I forgot. I
right.
just go. But initially, I was like in that mindset, treatment that I'm going to release it and just see what happens. And the universe took care of it.
Right.
HOA took care of it. I said, oh, okay. So now I have to do, so yes, so now I'm feeling better
Uh-huh.
about this with the spiritual mind treatment. I just have to stay in that mindset because you could forget really quickly,
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah.
get
That's
caught up
why
in
our practice is to do it every day. That's why the
every
practice
day.
of meditating is really important. Like, because,
Yes, yes.
when I went back to work, I was like, here I am in this like spiritual community and I'm in these classes and I'm doing it 24/7. And then I
Mhm.
started back at work and I was like, oh, wow, do you remember when I first started? I don't know if I said it to you, but I remember sitting there thinking, like, hmm, I haven't been in this environment in like 5 years. And five
Uh,
years ago, I would have been, if I walked in, if I saw myself 5 years, I would have been like, that woman's weird. Because I'm like so different. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I would have called myself weird. So I totally get it. And that was a really good realization. But,
Mhm.
and I also was thinking like, well, I was thinking it was two different Tiffany's. But
Ah,
really
yeah.
it's my lesson in merging, and that's being authentic,
Yeah.
because we can't. I mean, there's people that are going to be in their spiritual world and just like, that's it. I'm not going to do. I'm going to go to sound baths. I'm going to meditate, blah blah blah, and somehow they make it. But I have to be in the world. I'm also a realtor. I'm also a nonprofit owner. A singer, a
Yeah.
poetess, poet. What's it called? A writer, a poet now,
Yeah. A poet.
and it actually is fine to be all of it.
And an author.
And
Yeah.
an author, yeah.
Mhm.
So, and it's funny because, and I was thinking about that today because I was listening to this one spiritual podcast, and the girl grew up in a family that was already open and spiritual, and they never went to the doctor and stuff like that. But she felt a calling to become a nurse, and her family was like, "What? We don't do regular medicine."
Yeah.
Felt the calling. She went to nursing school.
Hmm.
She was working in a hospital, and then it was like her third eye opened up once while looking at a patient, and she said she started x-raying into the patient, and went and could see right through the body to the liver, and the liver started talking to her, telling her what was wrong with that
Oh,
patient.
yeah.
And then she didn't tell anyone for a while that what was happening. She was like, what is happening? But she
Mm-hmm.
realized it was real, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Eventually she did tell her nurse, because she was worried about something, and the nurse was like, "Oh, that's you reading energy." The nurse is open. The nurse head nurse is
Yeah.
me reading energy. And multiple people, including the doctors and surgeons, were very accepting of it. And were like, when they felt desperate, like, I don't know what else to do, they would call on her, like, can you please lay hands on this patient? Can you please tell me what's wrong with this patient? They started
Please.
using her. And at first she was kind of like, I don't know, because she was like, what if I'm wrong? It's not
Yeah.
scientific. And so then the doctors would write a prescription and or write an order for her to do certain things. She can't say
Mhm.
no to it, but she also doesn't have to take
Mhm.
responsibility if it doesn't work out. But it was working out, and that's
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing to see that. And you know what I mean.
Yes.
But it reminded me, like, yeah, I'm back in the workforce.
Hmm.
So what happened this week was one day I was just at my desk, and
Hmm.
I was like, I should change the code to the box to get into my one of my buildings.
Hmm.
And I was like, why am I thinking that? And then I brushed it aside.
Hmm.
And then next morning, I got a call before I got to work that there was a break in.
Oh,
And I was like, oh
wow.
gosh. Well, I got pre warned. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
And it
yeah.
wasn't a break in. Somehow that person had the code, came in and broke into the mailboxes.
Oh my
And I
God.
was like, okay.
Hmm.
I was pre warned, and this is how I can use my gifts
Hmm.
in the workforce, Or
Right.
like one day I came in early on. I just started working there maybe 2 months, and
Hmm.
I really got along with the manager at that time. And I
Hmm.
was like, I went in, I was like, Liz, I feel like you're going to get a promotion or something. You're going to be leaving me. And she was like, because she had just interviewed for another business for another position that week, but she had not told anyone about it. And she's like, what, are you psychic or something? And I was like, I do have some gifts. I was like, is this true? But I was like super sad about it. I was like, is this true?
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And then, and before, and like around that time too, I was at the gas station
Hmm.
out by my mother's. And I was like, and I remember this feeling, the sadness. Like, I was remember thinking, I'm going to kind of miss this. And then I was like, why didn't I have that thought? I had
Hmm.
no idea that
Yeah.
I was going to go through this path and be moving like I
And
am
be
now.
moving
So I
away
thought about that when I got gas earlier today, and I was like, oh, I
from.
remember I had that, and I really had no idea how it was going to happen. I was like, is my mom going to die? Why would I be leaving her? What, you know what I mean? All these things. I had no
Hmm.
idea.
Hmm. Oh my goodness. This is so great. This is so great. So in the instance of the nurse, and she comes from a spiritual family where they didn't really recognize the traditional nurse, but
Right.
she understood that her role was going to be different. She wasn't going to be the traditional nurse. Like she
She
was going to be
didn't
able
know
to,
that going in.
but
She was just
yes,
following
she
the
didn't
calling
know.
to go.
She
When
was,
it happened, it started
yeah.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the same with you. You're a different person now, and you're coming into this, position with a different kind of perspective and mindset. And I guess it's giving you an opportunity to use your gifts, in the same way she is given an opportunity in this new idea of a nurse and is being recognized by the medical
Right.
community because usually they just, they'll label you something and put you off to the side. So,
Right.
oh wow. So this is part of that, I guess, the emergence of the new earth, right?
I think so. Yeah. I thought, yeah.
It's
I
all a
think
part
so.
of
It's
that.
kind of exciting, right?
It is
Because
exciting. I love
because
it.
yes, because you know what? It hit me, it dawned on me, or I downloaded it. I think it was yesterday morning.
Hmm.
Um, because I do think that I'll be going into like in my work in healing because
Hmm.
it has been something that's called on me. So not in the hospital though. Mine will be like
Right.
through my prayers. Um,
Yeah.
so we know that, and this is science. This is science. You can Google this. So we know that they test medicines against placebos, which is nothing,
Hmm.
and that you can Google this on YouTube videos and find out why they do that. The testing of medicines against placebos, it's
Yeah.
because they know that once you tell someone, hey, take this pill, it's going to make you better. Depending on how much that person believes that pill is what heals it, that person will start healing. So the medicine has to be at least 10% stronger than our natural ability to self heal.
Mm-hmm.
So I was having a discussion about cancer and why do a lot of people get cancer again when in the second time they get it, whether they go natural or through the Western medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, when it reoccurs, it progresses faster.
Mm-hmm.
And what what downloaded in me was it's because the actual cause of cancer or whatever is happening hasn't been addressed. Going to the doctor only addresses the symptom. The
Yeah.
cause of it,
Oh, arrow. We heard that.
I know, I don't know what you heard though. The cause of it is something else. It's something in our thinking. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Or um emotions stuck in our body or whatever. So we
Mm-hmm.
still have to address that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, there's healing by taking herbs or whatever, natural or through medicine, but the actual problem
Mm-hmm.
isn't addressed and it's going to come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Because
So that's
yeah,
really cool with that nurse because that nurse is like talking to the liver and the liver's telling her why this patient is
why
sick,
it's
what it
happening.
has, and then
Right.
also the liver's like, I'm really overwhelmed with all these medications because the liver's job is to get the toxins out,
It's
and the
yeah, it's to
medications are
filter.
toxins too. And
Right.
I was like, that's just weird. That it's I mean it's all weird, right? It's all
Yeah.
creation. So, but what a weird thing to gift to have. Like
I
that would be actually really
know.
cool.
It would be really cool because it will get to the cause,
Yeah,
not just
exactly.
masking the symptoms that you see, but it's the getting to the cause.
Right. So we got
Mm,
to get to the cause of
mm-hmm.
any illness and
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And we call illness, I don't like to call it an illness too, because um I mean there are some illnesses, but sometimes when we say we're getting sick, like if we have a cold or flu and we have like the cold symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
sneezing, all that, I don't call it an illness. I call it my body's working. Something got in and look how
Yeah,
perfectly my body's working. It's getting it out. That's what
just
the
getting
whole
it out.
and when you
Yeah.
take the cold medicine and it just dries it up and keeps it in you, that's the
Mhm.
opposite of what's supposed to happen. That drives me
Yeah.
crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
no,
Me too.
you're supposed to sneeze it out. Our body's like, ooh, there's something in us. Sneeze out. That's my
Yeah.
body working.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that's how I look at it too. Like don't mask the what I'm feeling because then if you're masking it, then your body doesn't think it needs to work, right? It needs to
Right.
work through whatever it is that you're experiencing.
Yeah.
Um, so don't stop it. Just
Don't stop it.
let's get to the
Exactly.
yeah.
Let it work. Let it
Let
work.
it work. Let it work. It's
Yes. Yes. And if
wow.
it's not working, if the body at some reason is not doing what it's supposed to do, we can talk to it
Hmm.
and say, like I
Hmm.
did for you, I was like talking to your cells,
Hmm.
like, hey, or I do with I was having some feet injuries or issues. And I
Hmm.
started talking to the cells in my feet. I'm like, hey, you know what? You know what to do. I give you permission to take the
Hmm.
excess fat in my body to use as energy
Yes, yes,
to heal the issue and do what you need to do to get back to your perfect blueprint. I like to call it the blueprint.
yeah, and it is because it knows what to do. You just leave
Right.
it alone and let it do its
Yeah.
thing. Wow. Well,
We've gone
this has
everywhere
been
in this conversation.
I know, but no, this has been so helpful and so inspiring about, the spiritual mind treatment. And it really goes back to what we always talk about. What we think and what we say happens. So
Hmm.
what is that expression? Be careful what you say, what you ask for.
Careful.
Be
Yeah.
careful.
Be
Be
careful what you ask for.
very intentional about the words that you use because that
Yeah.
stuff will happen. That stuff will happen. So, what's happened to you? What spiritual mind treatment? I'm talking to the audience now. What spiritual mind treatment have you given yourself? Or do you think you need, um, to deal with a situation that you're in? We'd love to hear from you. So thank you for joining us and listening to this conversation. And we want to hear what your experience is with spiritual mind treatment and how do you go through that?
If they know what that is, but I will put this offer out there.
Okay.
and you can put my email, the Blue Moon email, that I will give everyone a free spiritual mind treatment, whoever wants to.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you for that offer. Thank you for giving me that spiritual mind treatment. I tell you, there's a weight off my shoulder as a result of that.
Hmm.
Remembering, what I need to do. So that's a really generous offer. Thank you, Tiffany, for that.
Yeah,
And yes, I think your email is in the descriptions each time. I'll
right.
make sure that it is, um, certainly with this posting of this video. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed listening to our conversation and that you found something in it that you can connect with and identify with and relate to. Um, you can play it back and hear, what those 5 steps are in terms of spiritual mind treatment. And then this generous offer that Tiffany made, and you can connect with her uh, when you see the description, when you go into the description that I post, how to connect with her to take her up on her offer. And also, I want you to remember to click on the subscribe button so that you can get a notification of when we make new postings. So, on behalf of Tiffany Lee, I'm Gwendolyn Flynn. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on New Answers Podcast, Nurturing Spirituality.